But of course, that's not all in terms of new additions in January, because we have two much requested, long anticipated, fan favorite champions finally joining the contest in Bullseye and White Tiger. We're going to take a look at both of those right now. We're going to look at some snippets. We're going to talk about them briefly. If you want a full deep dive into what these champions are capable of, please check out the Marvel Contest of Champions YouTube page. We will have Bullseye's deep dive live on Saturday and White Tiger's live on Sunday. Check out what makes these champs so special. But for now, we're going to get started with Bullseye, and we're going to throw things over to Karate Mike to show us the ideal rotation of Bullseye. Take it away.
To begin, strike the opponent with your blades to start building your cruelty. This happens through block, so don't be afraid to bully them if they get defensive. Once you cross a bar of power, you'll gain your Killer Instinct passive. You could use this as an easy opening to evade on your way up to Special 3. And once you build enough power, bait a special attack, and then trigger your evade to disable your Special 3 and immediately launch your Special 2. And if you want, tap and hold block to slow down time and release at the right moment to start building your dialed-in passives. From here, rush in while the opponent is stunned and launch your Special 1 to take advantage of your Fury and Bleed vulnerability. And if the opponent isn't already knocked out, just repeat until they are. Now, on top of all the guaranteed crits, remember, Bullseye can't miss. And sometimes, you'll want that Fury passive earlier than your Special 2. So, especially if the opponent is immune to bleed, you could evade just under 2 bars and launch your Special 1 to access those big yellow numbers that much faster. And hey, if your Bullseye is awakened, he gains up to a 50% chance to purify half of his debuffs on his heavy attack hits, making him a great candidate to run with the recoil masteries, juicing up those guaranteed crits even further.
And that is your first look at Bullseye. Very excited to see this champion join the contest and see what you all can do with them. But back to Bullseye, we asked Karate Mike, hey, what makes this champ unique? And Karate Mike delivered. Says, as always, so many things. He's the first champ in the game to use a baseball in a Special 3. How about that? He also has guaranteed crits on every single hit. But Ebony Maw Mans, don't get too excited because he also can't miss. We said, hey, Mike, what do they counter? What are they a key for? What do they answer here? He said, wow, Jax, I'm so glad you asked. A character, that Karate Mike. 100% uptime on a miss counter across all attacks can definitely be pretty useful. He also counters evade after his Special 1. Also, his Sig ability makes him pseudo-immune to Power Sting damage and also gives him a chance to purify debuffs on either champion's heavy attack hits, making him solid with the recoil masteries. We followed up. We concluded by asking, where do you see them thriving in the contest? Oh, Karate Michael. And he said, Battlegrounds and War, defense and attack. The dude is one of the most brutal defenders recently released, and that includes Onslaught and Maestro. Not going to give away the counters right now, but he's the type of champ that you ideally want a solid counter for. His damage loop is very nice for closing out short health pools, and since all of the effects are guaranteed, he's incredibly consistent. I think he's going to be quite valuable in Battlegrounds, in a Battlegrounds deck as a two-way champion moving forward. So that's Bullseye. Again, check out the full deep dive for all of the information, all the nitty-gritty details on the MCOC YouTube page on this Saturday. Let's move right along here. We'll dive into White Tiger, of course, a runner-up for a previous Summoner's Choice. We are going to show off White Tiger with a snippet of their deep dive.
To begin, strike the opponent and start building your power. Performing a dash will grant a precision passive to satisfy the itch for those yellow numbers. And once you reach just under 2 bars of power, launch your first special to steal the opponent's power and gain your first Furies. You can launch another special one to stack on even more Furies and reset your Power Steal passive. Keep in mind, you have a 20% chance per buff on the opponent to purify incoming damaging debuffs, So, don't stress, and build to your special 2 to place a juicy bleed that steals the opponent's regen, and if necessary, you could launch it again, since you just stole all that power. And now that the opponent is almost knocked out, continue the assault until they drop below 15%, and then use your power gain buff to end off with a final special 2 or that satisfying special 3 finale. Now, in a shorter fight, if possible, don't worry about the opponent's power and focus on repeatedly launching your special 1s to max out your Furies and steal that power on every other special activation. And once you're in range of that final strike, set yourself up and use that power gain to deliver a crushing special 2 finish.